gobyerno, andyan ang MTRCB.
Innovation, digital disruption, globalization. Startups, micro, small, and medium enterprises, as well as large corporations, all face interesting challenges in the market today. Peek into the world of exciting opportunities and partnerships to drive growth with the latest business news and information. We are open for business. Your weekly dose of entrepreneurial inspiration to update you on the latest developments in the world of business. Get up close and personal with CEOs and thought leaders to help you discover valuable insights. Sharpen your instincts for smart decision-making with the latest markets and economic trends, disruptive ideas, global innovation, social entrepreneurship, and other leading-edge business ideas. Join the conversations to create a more vibrant environment for entrepreneurship. Catch Open for Business, from vision to action.
Iba't ibang sakuna at kalamidad ang nararanasan ng bansa. Kapag may banta ng panganib, kailangang maging alerto at kung kailangang lumikas ay magtungo sa ligtas na lugar. Bilang paghahanda sa mga ganitong pagkakataon, mahalaga na may gobag na dadalhin ang pamilya. Narito ang dapat na nilalaman ng gobag ng isang pamilyang handa. Mahalagang dokumento sa selyadong lalagyan, flashlight, kandila, posporo at silbato, radyo na may bago at ekstrang baterya, first aid kit kasama ang panlunas sa lagnat, LBM, sugat at iba pa. Ang mga gamot na regular na iniinom ng pamilya. Magagamit para sa mga sanggol, bata, matatanda at may kapansanan. Pera at mga barya. Pagkain na madaling ihanda, di na kailangang lutuin at sapat para sa 3 araw. Inuming tubig sa saradong lalagyan at sapat para sa 3 araw. Telepono, power bank at charger. Lubid, lumang dyaryo, matitibay na lalagyan, damit, kapote, bota at mga sanitary supplies, sleeping bag o banig at mga kumot. Suriin ang mga laman ng gobag kada 3 buwan at palitan ang mga laman nito na malapit ng masira. Ilagay ang gobag sa lugar na madali itong makita at makuha sa oras ng sakuna.
Welcome back to the news. The Taliban announced their government on Tuesday with a UN blacklisted veteran of the hardline movement in the top role, weeks after they swept to power and toppled the US-backed president. Mullah Muhammad Hassan Akhund, a senior minister during the Taliban's brutal and repressive reign in the 1990s, was appointed acting prime minister. Take a look.
dalam mahal para wika da daimi para au baladachi
جلسه کابینه اعلام شد.
اول خو قبلا گفتم که قبلا یادآور شدم که این کابینه سرپرست است و تکمیل هم نشده. تمام نهادهای حکومتی هنوز اعلان نشده. وزارت‌های باقی مانده، ریاست‌های بزرگ باقی مانده، معینت‌ها هنوز باقی مانده. سر از او انشالله کار خواهد شد. کوشش میشه که از اطراف و اکناف کشور مردم بیایند و نقش داشته باشند. او در کابینه اعلان کرد ریاست سیما ایران
Promised an inclusive government that would reflect the ethnic makeup of the country, but all the top positions were handed to key leaders from the movement and the Haqqani network, the most violent branch of the Taliban, known for devastating attacks. None of the government appointees were women. A growing number of protests have emerged across the country over the past week, with many Afghans fearful of a repeat of the Taliban's previous reign. In Herat, hundreds marched, unfurling banners and waving the Afghan flag, a black, red, and green vertical tricolor with the national emblem overlaid in white, with some chanting freedom. Later, 2 bodies were brought to the city's central hospital from the site of the protest. A doctor in Herat told AFP on condition of anonymity for fear of reprisals. The Taliban spokesman on Tuesday warned the public against taking to the streets, adding that journalists should not cover any demonstrations. The group, which executed people in stadiums and chopped the hands of thieves in the 1990s, has said it would not stand for any resistance against its rule. Now, Qatar said the Taliban have demonstrated pragmatism and should be judged on their actions as the undisputed rulers of Afghanistan, but stopped short of announcing formal recognition of the Islamists. Qatari President or Assistant Foreign Minister Lola Al-Qatar told AFP in an exclusive interview that it would be up to the Afghans to determine their future, not the international community. Take a look.
They have shown a great deal of pragmatism. Let's seize the opportunity there. And once again, we put our emotions aside, we put how we assess their ideology aside, and look at their public actions. So there is a need to engage with the de facto power on the ground in Afghanistan. But at the same time, we have to use a very rational, not emotional, a rational approach with them to basically show them the benefits of engaging constructively with the international community and the consequences of not engaging constructively.
Meanwhile, the United States said it was concerned about members of a Taliban government named Tuesday, but said it would judge it by actions, including letting Afghans leave freely. Now, a State Department spokesperson said, "We understand that the Taliban has presented this as a caretaker cabinet. However, we will judge the Taliban by its actions and not words." This, as Secretary of State Antony Blinken held talks on Afghanistan in Qatar. The State Department renewed its call on the Taliban to offer safe passage to U.S. citizens as well as Afghans looking to leave. The State Department renewed its call on the Taliban to offer safe passage to U.S. citizens as well as Afghans looking to leave. Blinken earlier Tuesday in Qatar said that the Taliban were cooperating so long as travelers had travel documents amid charges from Republican lawmakers and activists that charter planes were stopped.
The United Nations says access to food aid and other life-saving services in Afghanistan is close to running out. Take a look.
Basic services in Afghanistan are collapsing, and food and other life-saving aid is about to run out. As we heard, the Secretary General has warned of a humanitarian catastrophe. We urge international donors to support this appeal fast and generously.
We are talking already, even before the events that have unfolded in recent weeks during the month of August, we're talking about a situation where 1 in 3 Afghans are acutely food insecure. A situation that's dramatic by any stretch of the imagination.
The grim assessment from the UN's Office for the Coordination of Humanitarian Affairs came amid an appeal for an extra $200 million in emergency funding. The warning came as the UN's children's agency, UNICEF, disclosed that it had registered hundreds of children who had been separated from their families in the chaos of the evacuation from Kabul's Hamid Karzai International Airport. The children included unaccompanied minors who ended up on flights to countries including Germany and Qatar, according to the Guardian news agency.
In other news, Sanei Takaichi, one of Japan's few prominent female politicians, announced today she will run for the head of the ruling party as it seeks a new leadership before a general election. Takaichi, a hawkish nationalist who has held several ministerial positions, is only the second politician to declare she will stand in the September 29 party vote, along with former Foreign Minister Fumio Kishida, Whoever wins will become prime minister and take the LDP into a general election that must be called in October and held no later than November. The 60-year-old vowed improvements in a wide range of sectors, from education to defense and disaster management. She also pledged to bolster the economy with a Saneomics plan, a nod to former Prime Minister Shinzo Abe, whose signature Abenomics involved vast government spending and monetary easing. And she also raised the possibility of allowing stricter antivirus measures in Japan, which has so far avoided blanket stay-at-home orders. The race to lead the Liberal Democratic Party was thrown wide open after its current head, Prime Minister Suga Yoshihide, said he would not run.
In other news, Nigerian gunmen kidnapped more than 40 people in 2 mass abductions in the Northwest, that according to police, near where the army is carrying out airstrikes and raids against criminal kidnap gangs. Northwest and central Nigeria have seen a surge in attacks by heavily armed groups known as bandits, who carry out mass abductions for ransom and raids on villages to loot and steal cattle. On Monday night, gunmen attacked Keki community in Chikun in Kaduna State, kidnapping 17 people, though 5 were later rescued by security forces, State Police spokesman Mohammed Jalige said. He's also said 12 hostages are still in captivity and their tactical response teams are combing the area with the mission to rescue them. Gunmen also attacked Danje Shuni village in Sokoto State late Tuesday, snatching 28 people, although 8 were later freed, according to Sokoto police spokesman Sanusi Abubakar. The village is near the border with Zamfara State, where the military is carrying out airstrikes and ground operations against bandit camps. Nigeria's security forces are already battling a 12-year-old jihadist insurgency in the country's northeast that has killed more than 40,000 people and displaced around 2 million more.
Now, as a way to help prevent the spread of COVID-19 in the Aloha State, members of the Iglesia Ni Cristo or Church of Christ recently teamed up with the Queen's Health System in hosting a free vaccination drive. Alpha Nacenas from our EBC Hawaii Pacific has more.
The members of the Church of Christ or Iglesia Ni Cristo believe in taking care of our health, so that we can continue in our worship and services to the Almighty God.
Members of the Iglesia Ni Cristo Church of Christ here in Hawaii Pacific continue their acts of charity, including their latest, a free vaccination drive in Waipahu on the island of Oahu.
The Church of Christ, with the partnership with Queen's Health System, right? We inform the community, right, by handing out flyers as early as we can, and there are online registration. We help them to fix or to arrange everything that is needed for this activity.
About a dozen staff from the Queen's Medical Center were on hand during the outreach event. And they too are doing their part in encouraging friends and family to get vaccinated.
There's still a few people who aren't vaccinated, although we are kind of meeting our 70% that the government wants. There's still that are very hesitant on getting the vaccine, and I've been kind of pushing my family and friends to get it as well, because I got it when we first started. So and they're very hesitant because it's a new vaccine, they're not familiar about it, and just the side effects kind of just make them very cautious on taking it. So just having more people kind of say, oh, it's okay, we got it. It's a big push for them to kind of be motivated to get vaccinated and help the community, have a herd community in our, just for everybody, just so it's more safer for us, especially with the the cases rising nowadays. Just having people vaccinated, it protects you. That's what it's supposed to do. It helps so that you don't go to the hospital, you don't get severe symptoms.
The Global Church further believes that there is another form of protection that people need amid the recent challenges caused by the pandemic.
We're also taking this opportunity not only to help them with their health, with material things, but most importantly, we use this activity to share our faith with our fellow men.
We are also conducting this activity that whenever we possibly can to do good to those in need.
Finally, for INC members in the Aloha State and around the globe, the month of September holds a very important milestone.
It's also part of our celebration for the 12th year anniversary of our beloved Executive Minister, Brother Eduardo V. Manalo, for his dynamic leadership to the entirety of the Church of Christ. We promise you po that we will continue to unite with you. We will continue to support activities, and no matter what happens, the brethren here in Hawaii Pacific will continue to follow the teachings of God written in the Bible.
As of this report, nearly 64% of Hawaii's population have been fully vaccinated, while 72.1% have already received at least one dose.
We would also like to encourage others to also join in these kinds of events so that we may take good care of our health. Thank you.
Reporting from Waipahu, Hawaii, Alfred Asenas, Eagle News. We live in interesting times.
Thank you, Alfred. The news continues after this break. Don't go away.
Protect yourself and loved ones. Use Protect Plus Gold, a broad-spectrum disinfectant that kills 500 strains of bacteria, fungi, and viruses such as coronavirus and other disease-causing microorganisms. Also potent against viruses in pets. It kills 99.9% of disease-causing germs and works in 10 minutes. Dissolve 1 teaspoon in 1 liter of water. Apply on areas for disinfection or use it for misting. Protect Plus Gold.
Now every step we take, boundary we break. There's nothing we can do. When it gets hard to see, just shake it up to me. There's nothing you can do.
Mabuhay! We are Bini! Abangan niyo po kami sa hashtag Letters and Music sa darating na Sabado 1 to 2 p.m. Siyempre dito lang sa Net 25! See you!
Moment lasts, but you have it, then it won't fade away. 'Cause baby, we were born to win. We were born to win.
Tayong mga Filipino, likas na palabati. Sanay rin tayong makipagkamay. Pero dahil na rin sa COVID pandemic, isinusulong ang pagbati na hindi na kailangan pang makipagkamay. Ang pambansang pagbati. Ito ay ang pagdampi ng kanang palad sa gitnang bahagi ng dibdib, kasabay ng bahagyang pagyukod ng ulo o paibabang tingin at pagsambit ng mga salitang nagpapahayag ng pagbati, paggalang o pagpupugay. Pagkatapos nito ay ang pag-angat ng ulo ng nakangiti at nakatingin sa mata ng binabati. Pambansang pagbati, pagpapakita ng paggalang, kababaang loob at pagiging sensero nating mga Filipino.
Welcome back to the news. The Makati Business Club, or MBC, has expressed its support on the safe reopening of the economy and to the government's moves to impose granular lockdowns instead of wider scope community quarantine measures. Now, in a statement today, MBC said through granular lockdowns, vaccination rollout, and prevention detect, isolate, trace, reintegrate, or PDITR strategy, the country can avoid recurring surges and broad lockdowns. The MBC said the private sector also complements the government's efforts to vaccinate Filipinos to achieve population protection. In a statement or separate statement, the Philippine Chamber of Commerce and Industry reiterated that granular lockdowns will have positive implications on businesses than the regular community quarantine measures.
And other business news, at least 14 flights were canceled today due to bad weather. The Manila International Airport Authority said now the canceled international and domestic flights include all Nippon Airways 869870, Manila Haneda Manila, Singapore Airlines 912, Singapore Manila, the SQ 919, Manila Singapore Air Swift T6 51105111, Manila Puerto Princesa Manila, Philippine Airlines 18131814, Manila Davao Manila, Jetstar Asia 3K766765, Manila Singapore Manila, Manila Singapore Manila, Etihad Airways 423424, Manila Abu Dhabi Manila, Starlux 785786, Manila Taipei Manila. Now, Pagasa on Wednesday said Metro Manila, Calabarzon, and parts of Mimaropa region will still have stormy weather due to the severe tropical storm Jolina. Earlier, Jolina made a landfall over San Juan, Batangas, and is forecast to make another landfall in the vicinity of Bataan Peninsula. Jolina was last tracked in the vicinity of Rosario, Batangas.
U.S. online payment giant PayPal is set to buy the online Japanese credit specialist Payday for $2.7 billion, the U.S. company said in a statement, a new sign of the development of the buy now, pay later sector. Created in 2008 in Tokyo, Payday allows online merchants to offer payment on credit and in installments to their customers. The company, which now boasts 6 million clients, had already raised around $400 million from investors, including Goldman Sachs and PayPal Ventures, the private equity arm of PayPal. For the buyout, the latter put 300 billion yen, or $2.7 billion, on the table, mainly in cash, according to a statement released Tuesday. The two groups expect the transaction to be finalized in the fourth quarter of 2021, subject to the necessary regulatory approvals. Following the takeover, Payday will retain its brand and continue to operate under its name. In April, the two companies had already entered into a partnership that allowed Payday users in Japan to make purchases on credit from all e-merchants that use PayPal as a payment service around the world. The deal announced on Tuesday confirms the growing development of buy now, pay later companies.
And other business news, billionaire and philanthropist Brock Pierce, who considers cryptocurrency as digital gold and defines it as an effective way to save for the future, celebrated the inauguration of the new Bitcoin law with 150 drones forming different symbols in the sky in El Salvador. Take a look.
And so I don't advise you to use this to make your day-to-day payments, to buy the things that you need to put food on your table or pay your rent. It's like digital gold. This is where you put money away for a rainy day in the future. This is for your savings account. And so far, everyone that has participated over time has done very, very well. And I believe that will continue to be the case. And we don't measure things by one day. We measure things over time. It's a journey, not a destination. And if you haven't been following this space for a while, it is a little bit of a roller coaster ride. Prices go up and down, but with time, they've continually been up and to the right.
El Salvador on Tuesday became the first country to embrace Bitcoin as legal tender, with consumer demand crashing its brand new cyber wallet system, even as the currency's value seesawed against the US dollar. Under the initiative of President Nayib Bukele, Salvadorian consumers can now legally use Bitcoin along with the US dollar, which has been the official currency for 2 decades, to pay for any good or service. Bitcoin can be bought and spent using a cyber wallet app called Chivo, which translates as cool in the local dialect, while cash can be drawn in dollars from some 200 Bitcoin automated teller machines hastily erected countrywide.
Hyundai is stepping up the pace of developing hydrogen technology and plans to offer engines powered by the fuel on all its commercial vehicles from 2028, the manufacturer said yesterday. The South Korean conglomerate, which has pioneered hydrogen with its Nexo X SUV and the first heavy goods vehicles on European roads, is promising fuel cell autos at electric vehicle prices from 2030. From 2023, Hyundai's third generation of fuel cells will be half the price, much smaller and more powerful than their predecessors. The world's third biggest automaker by output said in an online press conference. The goal is to make hydrogen readily used for everyone, everything, and everywhere, said Hyundai President Wi-sun Chung. He also said, "We aim to help foster a worldwide hydrogen society by 2040. The group also unveiled a sports car concept. The Vision FK, equipped with a fuel cell and an electric battery, promises an acceleration of 0 to 100 kilometers per hour or 62 miles per hour in less than 4 seconds and a range of 600 kilometers. While most of the automotive industry is focusing on the development of battery electric cars as a renewable energy source, Hyundai and bigger rival Toyota are backing hydrogen.
And Filipino-Canadian tennis player Leila Fernandez qualified for her first Grand Slam semifinals as the 19-year-old's dream run continued at the 2021 U.S. Open. Take a look. Now, Canadian 19-year-old left-hander Leila Fernandez advanced to the U.S. Open semifinals by defeating Ukraine's fifth-seeded Elina Svitolina 6-3, 3-6, 7-6. Fernandez, ranked 73rd, will play her first Grand Slam semifinal against the winner of a later match between second seed Ariana Sabalenka of Belarus and Czech 8th seed Barbora Krejcikova, the reigning French Open champion. The 2021 U.S. Open will run through September 12.
I'm really excited and very happy for the young athletes. Thank you so much for representing
so proud.
And that's it.
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, and that's it for tonight's broadcast. Thank you so much for joining us. I am CJ Hero. The news continues tomorrow.
And before we go, I would like to greet our Executive Minister, Brother Eduardo V. Manalo, a happy 12 years of dynamic and strong leadership inside the church. Congratulations po, and God bless always. At the end of the day, as I always say, by the end of the day, there remains so much more to be grateful for. Amalma Angeles, and
we live
in interesting times.
This program is supported by Protect Plus Gold, a broad-spectrum disinfectant, kills 99.9% of disease-causing germs and works in 10 minutes.